So we've been talking about why it is that the law of attraction is not actually working. At least not the law that we came to understand 20 years ago when Esther and Jerry Hicks and Rhonda Byrne, who authored The Secret, taught us or publicized this idea about the law of attraction, which was first understood to mean that if we thought positive thoughts and felt positive feelings, then we could attract positive results into our lives. In other words, we were taught that we could have anything we wanted. And want was something that we didn't understand. Anything that was longing was considered to be a soul longing. And therefore, we should have it. We should have everything we want. But we've come to understand with working and experimenting with the law of attraction for the past 20 years that it isn't working just as that we were taught it would work. But that's because a special ingredient got left out. That ingredient was the soul. We were taught to think positive thoughts, and when that didn't work, we were taught to feel positive feelings, and when that didn't work, we were taught that we should go into the shadow and get rid of any of those internal negative saboteurs who are going to keep us from having our dreams come true. And then we were taught that we should do all of those things in a combination. We should monitor what we think and what we feel, and we should always be thinking positive thoughts and always be living in gratitude, and we should always be feeling positive feelings and always be doing our affirmations and our vision boards so that we could maintain positive feelings. And then we should go to healers who would cut the cords to those saboteurs in our unconscious, and maybe we should allow some of that to rise to the surface that was in the shadow. But if it rises to the surface, then it might become a negative thought, and oh my gosh, we can't have that, so let's push that negative thought away again and think only positive thoughts. And you see now how this has become a vicious cycle. We never do anything that gets us off this wheel. So I said last time that we were going to talk about what the sacred texts told us, and I'm going to have to read one of them that is used by those who promote the law of attraction as we currently understand it to help you understand. And of course, I'm taking this from my book, The Law of Attraction, The Soul's Answer to Why It Isn't Working and How It Can. There's a whole chapter in there called What Do the Ancient Sacred Texts Really Tell Us? And here's the quote that was by Buddha. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts we make the world. And that is thought to mean that the Buddha agreed with our understanding of the law of attraction, which of course we know that he didn't. He talked all the time about renunciation, about not getting attached to results, about detaching from everything and everyone, not attaching to anything that was going to give us a thing from the external world. He was all about the internal world. He was all about self and no self. And those two concepts that we learn about from the Buddha have to do with the essence of who we are. They don't have to do with attracting from the external world things that are going to make us happy. As a matter of fact, what the Buddha tells us is that we should absolutely detach from all those things in the external world. He says, avoid attachment to both what is pleasant and what is unpleasant. Clinging to what is dear brings sorrow. Clinging to what is dear brings fear. To one who is entirely free from endearment, there is no sorrow and no fear. So that was what the Buddha talked about. And when he uses the word thought, he doesn't mean what we mean when we say thought. He doesn't mean think about what you want and you'll bring it to yourself. What he means is perception. So with our perception we create the world, and that is more like the truth. So we need to really be careful when we say that the sacred texts affirm the law of attraction as we currently understand it, because they don't. And when you move on from the Buddhist text, the Bhagavad Gita talks about how can we don't even own houses and cars. How can we say we own anything in the world? How can we say these are my sons and my daughters and my things when actually the divine self owns all of it? The Bhagavad Gita promotes a belief in divine self being the self that we are, that is divine, the deepest essence of who we are. That is also promoted by the Buddha. That is also promoted in the Sufi texts, and it is also supported in the Bible. What we don't understand is that the Bible's root language needs to be really understood. What happened when people interpreted the Bible was that they picked out one meaning of all potential meanings, maybe up to 10 potential meanings for a singular word, and that's the meaning they chose. And usually it was based on what they had already preconceived. So the meanings, the interpretation, the English language, the translation that we have of the ancient texts that are now considered to be Christian texts and Hebrew texts were actually, could actually mean something entirely different. And when one researches the root language, one finds a much deeper meaning. In fact, when Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," he didn't mean he himself, Jesus Christ, was the way, the truth, and the life. He meant the I am that I am is the way, the truth, and the life. He meant that the internal divine self was the way, the truth, and the life. The difference between Jesus the Christ, as we think of him, is in one thing. He knew who he was. We don't. And the reason we don't is because of the duality trance state. We believe we're separate from God. Jesus did not believe that, nor did the Buddha, nor did the author of the Bhagavad Gita, nor do the Sufi texts, nor do many of the other ancient texts, the Gnostic texts, believe in something they call divinization, which means that we are moving from lifetime to lifetime, incarnation to incarnation, to learn more about who we are as divine beings. Because we decided to walk through this duality trance state as a way of bringing form and formlessness together. Form had to ask all the questions inherent in the creation of form, like, can form exist separately from its creator? Well, the answer is no, but we have to experience that. And the only way to experience it is to live an as-if life, to live as if duality was true, which of course it isn't. We are not separate from the divine. And so over lifetimes, we come closer and closer to that awareness of ourselves as divine beings. When Jesus used those words and said he was basically a divine being, what happened was that the Pharisees and the Sadducees became very angry with him. And they said that he was blaspheming. And that's what we think today too. That, or that we might be sick, mentally ill, have a Messiah complex. But what if we are all divine beings? What if when Christ returns again, that's a metaphor for when we all wake up to who we really are? Wouldn't that be interesting? So the ancient sacred texts do not say what the law of attraction as we currently understand it says they say. What they all say, all of them say, is that we are divine beings who have forgotten who we are. And in the chapter in the book, what do the sacred texts really say about the law of attraction? You can learn more about that. I'm not going to go over the whole chapter with you. Certainly I would love it if you would read the book, because not only do I want the message out there, but the book explains it in such depth that it makes it much clearer than you can do on a video in just a few minutes. So you can purchase the book at any online or brick and mortar bookstore. It's called The Law of Attraction, The Soul's Answer to Why It Isn't Working and How It Can. The soul's answer is, you left me out. You forgot to put the soul into the equation of the law of attraction. And the true law of attraction is we are attracted to and by all of those things, people, places, circumstances, and events that will bring us closer and closer to full awareness of who we are as divine beings. Those events, places, things, circumstances could be painful, but we don't want to think about that because we're bargaining with the concept of suffering when we invest in the law of attraction that says we can have anything we want, and we just need to think really well, and then we will have what we want. It's really based on the old basic concept, think and grow rich. That's what it's all about, mostly. If you just think about it, you'll grow rich. And I'm sorry to say that so much of what the law of attraction is about is money. Not to say that there's anything wrong with money or having money. I want money. We all want money. But money is a method. It's a means to an end. Period. That's all it is. It has no other meaning. So when we talk about money and having money, what we're really talking about is we would like to have some peace of mind, because that's what money affords us. We can buy houses and things and take care of our kids and our families and all that if we have money. But what we're really saying is, I'd like to have peace of mind. And you can have that, we can all have that right here, right now, because we are divine beings. And if we can surrender into that, then the law of attraction will have completed its mission, which is to attract us to those things and circumstances and events and people that are going to bring us to that full awareness, full consciousness of who we are as divine beings. So next time we're going to talk some more, just a little bit more about the law of attraction and the different other laws that are interacting with the law of attraction. So stay tuned for that. And remember, you can be who you are. You can be who you are because you are a divine being. See you next time.